I was probably a little skeptical when I saw Kenny. I said, okay, we got another big football player here who's going to try engineering. And that very quickly changed to a certain level of respect because of his high grades and his dedication to his studies.
You know, he takes it as a challenge. He thinks of it as, you know, how can I beat this? How can I be better? And he really has a passion for it anyway. So he welcomes it, and he finds ways to work his schedule out. It's unique. A lot of times his class schedule and his practice schedules are jam-packed together, and he does a great job.
I chose Arkansas State because I had a football offer here, as well as they had an engineering school that was pretty good. You know, I went with electrical engineering because I really like the professors. I love Dr. Mixon. He's a great teacher. He was my advisor for engineering. He just has such an enthusiasm for what he does. He loves teaching. He loves building relationships with students. I mean, I ate the other day with him. He's just a very relational person. He's incredibly intelligent, but he also has he's very great at relaying his knowledge over to the students. He doesn't put it too far above your head, but he helps you to really grasp the information. Also, too, I really like biomedical engineering that didn't have it here. I felt like that was somewhat close so that I could do some of the ideas eventually that I want to do.
It's hard to imagine anyone could excel at both football and studying engineering to the point where they complete the engineering degree in 4 years. He's now, of course, enrolled in our graduate program in engineering management while he finishes out his last year of eligibility. And so, yeah, that's very unusual, and it's quite remarkable.
I think I was the only person to graduate engineering in 4 years, let alone play college football while doing it. You know, you've got to have pretty good time management, and I think that's one thing that I learned from football is you've got to be very strict with your time. A lot of people think that it'd be a lot harder, but I feel like the more that you have to do, the more efficient you become, because most college students don't have very much to do and they don't do anything.
I think it's just because he really enjoys what he does. He's very lucky to be playing football just due to his health in the past. And so I think he knows not to take that for granted, and he's got a passion for the engineering and the inventing side of things. And so he's really just having a great time, but he does a lot of hard work at the same time.
About 3 years ago, Kenny was the first student I ever knew that had his own 3D printer at home. It's kind of a new technology. And I knew what a 3D printer was, but I was amazed to see a young man that had one at home, and he was always creating parts or gadgets and bringing to school and printing people different things. I can say he taught me as much about 3D printing as I taught him about some of his engineering courses. And just, yeah, it's a delight to have a student who wants to do that. It really is.
He's just got a brilliant mind, always thinking outside the box. He's got that gift to be able to think in ways a lot of people don't. Cares a lot about other people, always concerned about his teammates, people around him.
My next door neighbor, we live over in the village, and one day he has a dog, a service dog. I saw a service dog walking around. I'm like, there's no other dogs on campus. I wonder why he has a dog. And so I went over there, met the dog, met him and his mom, and they're great people, and we kind of built a friendship up from there, and that's kind of how it all started. He's a quadriplegic. He's paralyzed from the shoulders down, but he's slowly regaining movement. He can move his arms, he can move his wrists, but he can't move his fingers. Found a design on the internet, and my second bedroom, I've got a couple 3D printers, basically like a mini factory. And so, you know, I kind of looked at the design and I thought that I could give it a shot and printed it off for him. And anyway, he puts this little gauntlet on his arm. He puts his hand in a fist, puts it over it, and when he moves his wrist, the fingers open and close. We had to make some modifications, basically due to the atrophy of his muscle in his forearm. So the traditional model that I used, whenever the wrist moves down, the fingers close, but because of the muscles in his forearm, I had to reverse it so when he moves his wrist up, the fingers close. I'd love to make an Iron Man suit for people who are paraplegic, quadriplegic. That would be great to make just different prosthetics and help people out who really need it.
He's an emotional leader. He's a leader by example, both on and off the field, that you can be good on the field, you can be good as a teammate, but you can be great in the classroom as well, and more importantly, just be great people. We'd love to have a lot more Kenny Raines if we can find them.